Good evening, I'm Ian Hannamansing. Another tense night in southwestern Nova Scotia.
It's very unsafe for the people. Like this fire that broke out, it was close to the houses and anything could have happened.
An arrest, RCMP reinforcements, and more calls for federal action in the standoff over a lobster fishery. When it comes to physical distancing, it seems some MPs aren't getting the message.
I can't even walk in to get a glass of water. It's too many people clustered, too many people without masks.
It has some on the Hill concerned about their safety, a CBC exclusive. So where are you most likely to get infected? Our doctors cut through the noise.
His last words that night were to me is, "You'll have to write the book."
An Ontario woman's fight with Apple to complete her husband's dying request. This is The National. The RCMP is patrolling rural Nova Scotia in heightened numbers after a dangerous escalation in an increasingly violent standoff between Indigenous and commercial fishermen. Police don't yet know who burned down the Mi'kmaq lobster pound this weekend in Argyll, but a man has been charged with burning a van in front of another Indigenous-owned facility last week. The Mi'kmaq claim rights to fish outside of the regular lobster season, but commercial fishermen say that threatens the stocks all rely on. Both sides want Ottawa to set things right. At the heart of this conflict is a lack of clarity over how this industry, so vital to both sides, is controlled and regulated. And the anger grows. Kayla Hounsell begins our coverage tonight.
All was calm at the wharf in Saulniéville today.
There seems to be more police officers around, and we're very grateful for that.
Chief Mike Sack had been calling for more officers. Now some have arrived, including a team trained in de-escalation and crowd control. Police have also charged a man with arson after Tuesday's van burning. And another man with assaulting Chief Sack. But Sack says he still wants to see more charges.
Right from when we started, commercial fishermen were hauling our gear, endangering our people, lots of criminal acts. We haven't seen any charges in regards to those yet.
There have also been no charges in the apparent arson of the lobster pound. Police say a person of interest is in hospital with life-threatening injuries.
It's very unsafe for the people. I mean, this fire that broke out, it was close to the houses and anything could have happened.
Indigenous people across Atlantic Canada are now worried about violence.
We all support each other. We're here to keep things safe. We're here to protect our people, protect our rights.
This lobster fisherman says the violence is not representative of all commercial fishers.
Half of the fishermen don't abide by any association. They're independent, they don't pay union dues. So half of the guys are on their own.
We didn't have a talk.
Comeau had been trying to negotiate peacefully for the Maritime Fishermen's Union, but resigned his position after saying he was intimidated by his own people. And while he condemns violence, he says conservation of lobster stocks is a valid concern.
As it's going now, it's going to be a matter of time that the lobster stock is going to dwindle. It might go the way of the codfish, you don't know. We've seen it before.
The Mi'kmaq say they have a plan to manage the fishery.
And Kayla joins us from the wharf in Saulniéville. And Kayla, what are we hearing from the government about all of this?
Well, Ian, there are growing calls on all sides for the government to sort this out. The Liberal government maintains it is holding talks with both sides and that those talks remain confidential. It says it is committed to working with the Mi'kmaq to implement their treaty rights. We also know the Assembly of First Nations had been asking the government for an emergency meeting, and we're told that meeting did go ahead today. And tonight, the NDP is asking for an emergency debate in Parliament, saying the Mi'kmaq people have been terrorized, Ian.
All right, Kayla, thank you. Despite broad support for the commercial fishermen's calls for conservation, there is growing outrage over the violence in Nova Scotia and across the country, with many rallying to the Mi'kmaq's defense. Simon Nakaneshny looks at that part of the story.
A show of support from a community that's long familiar with standing up for Indigenous rights. Convoy from the Ganyegahaga community of Ganawage. Traffic ground to a halt as leaders called for justice for Mi'kmaq fishermen.
Preventing a people from harvesting their traditional foods and their traditional territories is an act of genocide, and the actions of the non-Indigenous fishermen are acts of terror and hate crimes.
And we're doing this because they're our brothers, and we do whatever we can to support them.
Earlier in the day, another rolling blockade, this time from Ganasatake, the community at the heart of the 1990 Oka crisis.
The same issue that remains unresolved here is reflected throughout all the fires that are burning across Canada, which is a disrespect of our inherent rights as Indigenous people.
But the show of solidarity extended to non-Indigenous Canadians too. In Halifax, a demonstration drew a wide cross-section of supporters. And just a few blocks away, at least one restaurant announced it will stop selling lobster.
There hasn't been much of a backlash. A couple, messages here and there, but overall, people have been endorsing what we are doing.
Montreal celebrity chef David McMillan says his restaurants will boycott Nova Scotia seafood.
We try to buy the best protein, the best dairy, and the best vegetables from the best people, and we expect that from the fishery.
So far, the protests have caused only modest disruptions, but this year's rail blockades in support of the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs in BC showed that many Canadians do support Indigenous positions. The question now is whether this dispute will unleash the same degree of disruption. Simon Nakaneshny, CBC News, Ganawage.
Now to a CBC News exclusive, the House of Commons installing plexiglass barriers tomorrow because some MPs are accused of being so cavalier about public health rules. Some young employees are worried about their safety. Ashley Burke has our story.
In the midst of a pandemic, when everyone's told to physically distance, some members of Parliament aren't abiding by the same rules.
I just think they're not paying attention to the basic COVID rules once they're in their lobby space.
MPs don't have to wear masks while sitting in these private lobbies, an area away from the cameras near the House of Commons to hold meetings or grab food. But MPs and staff are supposed to physically distance. May said in the opposition lobby that the Conservatives, NDP and Bloc Québécois share, some are ignoring the rules.
I can't even walk in to get a glass of water. It's too many people clustered, too many people without masks.
According to internal emails obtained by CBC News, some pages have raised concerns about their own safety and the safety of their families. Complaints that some MPs and staff are standing too close to them while not wearing masks. Each week, MPs are traveling back and forth to Ottawa, meeting staff and some attending events in their ridings.
Tonight I talked about
the Conservative leader and the entire Bloc caucus had to self-isolate last month. Both Aaron O'Toole and Yves-François Blanchet tested positive. Both parties claim they're following the rules on Parliament Hill. The NDP said it's being careful in the lobby too.
As the whip, what I've really done is asked my members to be as safe as possible and encourage them to wear masks, and I've been pretty pleased with their performance.
But some pages aren't pleased. After the House of Commons became aware CBC News was looking into the issue, it informed pages that plexiglass barriers would be installed by Monday around pages' chairs in the opposition's lobby. But some want more done.
I would support mandatory use of masks in the lobby. That's what I've seen in the government lobby, and except for obviously eating.
For now, pages have been told it's up to them to withdraw from any situation they feel is unsafe and report it to their supervisors. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
City by city, province by province, through new restrictions and rising caution, officials and individuals are pushing against that COVID curve. Newly reported cases across the country are high, but they are holding steady. While Alberta and BC don't release numbers on the weekends, the other provinces posted promising data today, even when we look at the 7-day averages. Canada's second wave is, for now, leveling off at around 2,300 new cases a day. Ontario and Quebec make up about 3/4 of that total. Most of the rest is in the West. But new infections are just part of the problem. For example, in Ontario, over a month, case rates more than doubled. But the number of patients in hospital has quadrupled. With that comes a higher risk that hospitals aren't just places of COVID-19 treatment, but also of transmission. And as Lauren Pelly tells us, at 3 Toronto hospitals, that's exactly what happened.
It's calm outside this West End Toronto hospital. Inside, 4 units are experiencing outbreaks with at least 20 cases of COVID-19, including more than a dozen staff members who've tested positive for the virus. St. Joseph's Health Centre is now further tightening policies for visitors, but that's little comfort to patients coming for COVID tests.
A little bit more nervous, but we had to get the test done.
This couple made an appointment after both started feeling chills.
I think it might have affected where we went to go get the test, perhaps. If we knew there was an outbreak at this hospital, we'd go to a different one.
A few kilometers away, Toronto Western Hospital is also reporting an outbreak, with 3 patients and 6 staff members testing positive from 2 different units. And the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health declared an outbreak Sunday after 2 patients tested positive there.
Clinicians warn these hospital outbreaks are just a symptom of a bigger problem: widespread community transmission of this virus.
At the end of the day, when you have this much circulating virus, it's going to get in. Then you have to see next how you contain it once it gets in.
Every time this happens, it disrupts hospitals and how healthcare functions, and you have healthcare providers who need to be in quarantine or isolation.
At Alberta's largest hospital, Foothills Medical Centre in Calgary, a deadly weeks-long outbreak with dozens of cases has forced more than 300 healthcare workers to isolate. Hospital officials in Toronto hope to avoid that kind of dire scenario. But even before these outbreaks, the system was under strain.
Even now, many hospitals in the Greater Toronto Area are near 100% capacity.
And even if it's a small percentage of people who are infected come into hospital, when you have so many thousands of people being infected, it is going to affect the healthcare system.
That makes it crucial to curb COVID-19's spread beyond hospital walls. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
And the city of Toronto is one of Ontario's hotspots, but by some key metrics, the nation's capital, even hotter. Olivia Stefanovich tracks the signs of Ottawa's raging COVID epidemic on the streets and below.
I'd prefer to live somewhere else. It's a little scary.
Melissa Atchison says she thought Ottawa had the pandemic under control. Then her partner tested positive for COVID-19. He's in a long-term care home due to a traumatic brain injury. It's the site of one of the city's worst outbreaks.
I just really feel for him. And I think for anybody to be alone for that period of time is really hard.
Frontline healthcare workers have a hard time explaining the high numbers. This doctor says they're seeing the same pattern as the first wave.
The cases that we're seeing in hospital have been, honestly, the cases that we were seeing earlier. So older patients.
Why are our cases so high? I've asked myself this question.
Ottawa's chief medical officer of health says one reason might be the capital reopened more quickly than other areas.
We saw people relax and say, oh, we're good. I'm going to get together with friends.
It's those social gatherings that are being blamed for a second wave.
We are very concerned about the transmission in the Ottawa area.
Evidence of that transmission can be found in the city's sewers. Fecal testing shows the virus is spreading rapidly.
Well, there's no question it's concerning.
But Ottawa's mayor says the data may not be telling the whole story. He says the city is testing more on a per capita basis than other COVID hotspots like Toronto and Peel. The mayor also points to Quebec.
We're right next door to the province that has the most number of cases of COVID-19.
The current rate of transmission for the capital paints a bleak picture that shows no sign of improving. Ottawa Public Health predicts more than 600 new cases per day by December. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Today, New Brunswick reported its 3rd death from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, as well as 5 new cases. A person in their 60s passing away in a special care home which is experiencing an outbreak. 3 of the new cases are in the Campbellton region, the other 2 in Moncton. Both regions returned to orange level restrictions just over a week ago. This Ontario gym will be closed tomorrow when York region joins other COVID hotspots in the province. Like Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel region, it will revert to a modified Stage 2. That means closing indoor dining and movie theaters for the next 28 days. In Manitoba, gyms are not affected as new COVID-19 restrictions come into force at midnight. Austin Grabish shows us who will feel the impact and how people are reacting.
The lights are about to go dark, and these pub doors will soon be closed as Manitoba beefs up its fight against the virus. the government is forcing casinos and bars in Winnipeg and surrounding communities to close. Dine-in space is being reduced at restaurants and lounges.
I do think shutting down bars when the numbers are going up is probably the right thing to do.
It's a good thing. It's things got crazy. It went too high.
Retail capacity is being cut in half, and groups will be capped at just 5 people. Manitoba reported 2 new COVID-19 deaths Sunday, bringing the province's death toll to 40. It comes after a record rise in cases in Winnipeg in recent days. COVID is ripping through personal care homes in the city. At least 9 residents in this facility have died. The virus is also being found in students. Public health has found over 50 possible exposures at dozens of schools, forcing some students back home to learn remotely. The new rules won't force gyms or fitness studios to close. You'll still be able to go for a run or attend a class, but occupancy will remain at half and numbers need to be collected for contact tracing.
We were really worried that they were going to close all the fitness facilities. Lots of fitness classes have just started up again.
But some fear letting gyms stay open could be a mistake.
If you're doing spin, you're exercising hard, and you're breathing hard, then that can expel more viruses.
The government says the new restrictions will last for 2 weeks, but if the numbers don't go down, they may be in place even longer, and further measures could be brought in. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Today in France, thousands gathered in Paris and other cities to honor a history teacher killed on Friday by a suspected Islamic extremist. The 47-year-old beheaded by a Chechen refugee born in Moscow. Police shot the killer dead on Friday. He had asked students to point out their teacher to him after the teacher taught about cartoon depictions of the Prophet Muhammad. Just over 2 weeks to go before the U.S. election, and Donald Trump and Joe Biden are campaigning hard. Paul Hunter tells us how they're trying to flip so-called battleground states to their side.
What a crowd, what a crowd.
With the president tonight in front of a shoulder-to-shoulder crowd in Nevada and the former vice president amid supporters by design socially distanced in their vehicles at a rally in North Carolina, the contrast between the two could hardly be more clear.
Folks, as my coach used to say in college, it's go time.
With just over 2 weeks before the election, Joe Biden underlined his pitch on the East Coast.
I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I will govern as an American president. No red states, no blue states, just the United States.
And the Lord said he is ready for the next 4 years.
Earlier back in Nevada, a state Trump lost in 2016, the president attended a church service. Evangelicals are a significant part of the U.S. electorate.
The Lord said to me, I am going to give your president a second win.
But it was a rally last night in Michigan that had people talking today.
Lock 'em all up.
Trump had criticized Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The crowd chanted, "Lock her up." But it came just days after police had stopped an alleged kidnap plot targeting Whitmer. That Trump did not dissuade the crowd left Whitmer today enraged, suggesting Trump was inciting violence.
It is wrong. It's got to end.
Meanwhile, more early voting began today back in Nevada, said Trump tonight in that state.
There's even more enthusiasm now than we had 4 years ago.
But the fact is, Trump is behind Biden in Nevada, and he's behind in almost every poll in every so-called battleground state, and he's behind Joe Biden nationally, with 2 weeks and 2 days to go. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington. A widow in Ontario is going public tonight as she tries to fulfill her husband's dying wish.
His last words that night were to me is, "You'll have to write the book."
Next on The National, why she's locked in a legal battle with Apple.
So how much space is there here?
132 acres.
And what's driving a real estate boom in northern British Columbia?
People are making decisions that they may have put off for a long time.
And a pandemic performance that hits the right notes. Taking the symphony outside the concert hall. We'll be right back. What happens to the information we store online, protected by passwords, after we die? An Ontario widow decided to go public after an expensive battle with a tech giant to get access to her husband's last words. Rosa Marcatelli has her story.
Don Noble liked to write things down in his diaries and on his iPad. After he got gravely ill with a rare form of spinal cancer, he started to write about the toll the disease was taking, hoping to put it into a book for his family. Just before he died, he made one request of his wife.
And his last words that night were to me is, "You'll have to write the book." He went into a coma shortly after that and died 2 days later.
She later realized she'd forgotten the password for the Apple account, which was under her husband's name, and couldn't access the files. Apple told her she needed a court order to unlock the account so the company could satisfy a U.S. privacy law written way back in 1986.
Basically, what Apple wants is an order from the court to give me what my husband owned and is already bequeathed to me.
The cost of getting a court order can range from about $2,000 to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how complicated it gets.
It comes down to a question of, this cloud-based service, it's an internet-based service, so where is it actually located?
It was the same problem for this Ottawa family. When 23-year-old Dovie Henry died in a suspected suicide, his mom wanted access to his digital accounts to see if they would give her answers. She's been fighting a number of social media providers in Canadian and U.S. courts ever since. Experts say tech companies refusing to hand over these assets is a big problem that will only get bigger, saying many of these companies follow U.S. laws, while our own lawmakers have been ignoring the problem and the solution for years.
We need strength in numbers and leverage.
An organization that fills gaps in Canadian laws thought it had a solution. It put together draft legislation 4 years ago that would protect Canadians like Noble, but only Saskatchewan has adopted the law.
As long as we don't have that leverage, effectively the default is that they will continue to assume they can apply U.S. law.
Apple didn't respond to Go Public's questions. For now, Noble only has access to her husband's paper journals. She was ready to give up on getting the digital ones until her lawyer offered to complete the case pro bono. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Go Public.
And remember, our Go Public stories come from you, so if you have a tip for Rosa and the team to investigate, send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca. Next on The National, some of your pandemic questions answered.
I'd like to know more about super spreader locations, how those places are determined, and what's the overall risk.
The doctors are next to talk about where you are most at risk.
So this is a 3-bedroom, about 1,300 square foot.
And the big demand for small town real estate thanks to COVID-19.
resurgence of COVID-19 cases affecting many parts of the country is concerning.
With cases rising, there continue to be questions about where exactly the virus is spreading. Take a look at this graph from federal government data earlier this month. We've taken out the two biggest categories, long-term care homes and healthcare. Of the remainder, the two settings with the highest number of cases reported are what's called industrial. That includes manufacturing facilities and workers' living quarters, as well as congregate living facilities. Those are shelters and group homes, for example. So not a lot of data that gives us specifics on the risks of our day-to-day activities, such as eating in a restaurant, going to work, or going to the gym. So we're going to bring in a couple of doctors to help us assess that risk. And joining us are infectious disease specialists, Dr. Suman Chakrabarti and Dr. Susie Hoda. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We know people are constantly having to make their own judgments about risk tolerance. We asked people to send in questions, and here's our first one.
I'd like to know more about super spreader locations, how those places are determined, and what's the overall risk.
Dr. Chakrabarti, let me start with you and explain for us what super spreader means.
Yeah, this is a very important concept. So super spreader, it generally refers to a situation where you have one or a few number of people who are able to infect a large number of people. So to give an example, a classic one was in Washington State, where you had that choir where there's 3 or 4 infected people, and they managed to infect 30 or 40 people in that choir in one setting. And these patchy super spreader events is what we think is the way that the outbreak has been propagating over the past several months. And it's really important to realize that, and interventions can be directed to try to stop that in its tracks.
So a lot was made of singing inside a small area with that Washington State case, but is there anything more we should know about potential super spreading events?
Yeah, the general theme of things is that we're seeing this as a repetitive thing, is that it's indoors in an enclosed environment, multiple people present, and they're there for a prolonged period of time in sorts of agitated states of, like say, talking, yelling, singing, and even crying. All of these things can result in droplet formation, and this is what results in the spread of the virus. And this is what we've seen in the evidence that's coming from all around the world in the global experience.
And Dr. Hoda, I'd like you to jump in and give us a bit more guidance in terms of, as we're trying to figure out where we're less safe and more safe, what would you tell us?
Well, I think, the epidemiology really points to close contact with individuals who are infected as being one of the most important things. So, where we're seeing outbreaks, it tends to be either workplaces or in bars or other settings where you get lots of people who could be close together. And, the behaviors are also important in terms of spread of disease. So what are they doing when they're there together? Are they yelling? Are they, exercising in gyms, for example, where you get a lot of heavy breathing? And then, of course, what's the environment like? So what's the ventilation like? Is it really tight and sealed? Do you get a lot of fresh air in? That would be helpful. Those kinds of factors are really what drives it. And what we're seeing epidemiologically is relevant for spread.
And Dr. Hoda, may I ask you, when you're out and about, let's say going into stores or walking outside from store to store, to what extent do you feel at risk in those situations?
I think that the thing about stores is usually you're in there pretty transiently. So there's a time-dependent factor as well. So if you're going to be in some indoor setting for a short period of time, putting on a mask, and if everyone else around you is masked as well, that's an important factor to protect you, and limit the amount of time that you're in that setting. And I think that's a reasonable sort of outing where your risk is not quite as high as if you were in a party, for example, for a long period of time.
Let's get to another video question now.
Why did we take such great measures at the beginning of the pandemic to lock down everything when transmission rates were lower to where we are now, where transmission rates are higher, but we're allowed to go out and do activities which were regarded as unsafe at the beginning?
I'm going to put a portion of that question to each of you. First of all, Dr. Chakrabarti, are transmission rates higher now than they were at the beginning?
Not necessarily. So one of the things that's very important is back at the beginning in spring, we were only seeing the tip of the iceberg of the cases in terms of our testing. So say something that was like, 500 cases a day was probably more like 2,000. We just weren't picking it up. Now with our better testing capability, we see the rest of the iceberg, and the numbers seem higher, but it's a different situation than it was in March. And for that reason, it's important that we know more about the virus, we know where the high-risk areas are at, and we can target our interventions rather than do a blanket lockdown that we had to do back in March.
Which leads me to the last question to you, Dr. Hoda. We have only about 30 seconds, but why aren't we tightening more? Why don't we have more of a lockdown since numbers seem so high?
Well, the real key is the healthcare system being overwhelmed by what we're seeing? And right now, it's not. We're coping with the number of cases that we're seeing that are severe enough that they need to have healthcare interventions. Back in the earlier stages, we were starting to see a more rapid rise in hospitalizations, and we were quite worried because we heard about what was happening in Italy and New York, for example, where things happened quite rapidly and it was unpredictable and the system got overwhelmed. And that was a rationale for proactively shutting things down a lot quicker.
And I'm sure you'd both endorse this message. We should keep our guard up, stay vigilant. Thank you both very much for speaking with us this evening.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, we're always looking for your questions about COVID-19, so send them in. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National or email us at covid@cbc.ca. In some small towns across Canada, something is missing. They don't have enough properties for sale. Demand outstripping supply. Northern British Columbia is one region seeing a boom in real estate. Briar Stewart went to the town of Smithers to take a closer look at what's going on.
So how much space is there here?
132 acres.
This is one of the 20 properties Sandra Hinchliffe currently has for sale. A small farm complete with a greenhouse,
Nice wood stove,
and a log cabin. The rural property is about a half an hour outside of Smithers, a northern BC community that's experiencing a real estate boom.
I've been a realtor for 18 years, and I think this is the busiest that I've been. And I think this is the most sellers market that I've seen too. So this is a 3-bedroom, about 1,300 square foot.
Single-family homes like this one are fueling the demand. Northern BC had its second busiest third quarter since the region started collecting data in 1980. Record low mortgage rates are a big help. But Hinchliffe believes there's also something else going on.
With all the anxiety that people have over COVID, that people are making decisions that they may have put off for a long time, thought about moving to the country. Now they're doing it, right?
Has a nice feel to it.
People like Terry Arbick, whose family just made the move to Smithers from the Calgary area. After living in communities around the world, they wanted a change of pace. COVID, he says, was a catalyst.
Being in the big city and waiting in traffic and having a bunch of restrictions in areas that you live in, you put up with it. We had to work, but when that went away, then we could open up and have an opportunity to do something else.
But while some are choosing to relocate, experts say there is no large urban exodus. Instead, many families who were going to eventually trade in their city condo for a house saw the pandemic as the perfect opportunity because of remote work.
Those family formation moves that might have occurred over the next year or 2 years or 3 years, or even maybe people would have stuck it out 4 or 5 years, those got compressed into like 1, 2, 3 months. So that's what we're seeing.
Over here is the master bedroom.
As a result, housing prices have also gone up as more people are looking to make a move further afield. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Smithers.
Since the beginning, the pandemic has played havoc with supply chains. You may remember the great toilet paper shortage. Then it was baking supplies and bicycles. And if you're thinking about a building project now, your plan could get hammered. Peter Armstrong explains.
This was going to be the best summer of Michele Coliano's career. The lockdown had forced everyone inside, and he was poised to build their decks and fences. But the pandemic has a weird way of turning things upside down.
It started feeling like it was going to be a very profitable year, but now, as with all the shortages, it's starting to become just like every other year, just with more headaches.
Coliano and his dad have been busy, not just building. The hard work right now is finding lumber.
Things are going up 20 to 40%. Some pieces have doubled in price.
Back at the beginning of the pandemic, sawmills across the country closed down. Some had to battle COVID outbreaks. Others, like this lumber mill in Nova Scotia, scrambled to keep pace. Demand from the construction industry barely stopped. Then a country of DIYers hit the nation's lumber yards.
4 million Canadians went home, and I think that they decided to build that deck or the home renovations, and it's hard to buy all kinds of things, not just lumber.
Sawmills are back up and running now, but the backlog is still working its way through the system, and industry experts say it's going to take time.
We're in that game of catch up, and it's going to take us a while. We're probably going to be in this situation at least until the end of this year and probably early into 2021.
Until then, prices will remain high, and that's not great news for contractors trying to get projects done before the ground freezes and the snow flies. Right now, Coliano's driving hours out of town just to pick up wood.
It's frustrating. It makes scheduling a nightmare.
But he also knows many Canadians haven't been able to get back to work at all. So he's just glad he and his crew are working. The frustrations are just part of the gig during a pandemic. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Canadians who help care for family members are being battered by this pandemic.
So it's tantamount to a form of post-traumatic stress caused from forced helplessness.
After the break, they've had to fight for access to their loved ones, and now they fear what could happen next.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, we look at the escalating tensions over the Mi'kmaq lobster fishery in Nova Scotia and the complex history behind this conflict. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Canadians provide some form of care to a family member or a friend with a long-term health condition. That's according to StatsCan. It could be a disability or problems related to aging. But the pandemic has prevented many from carrying out the duties so important to them. Joanna Emiliota shows us the stress they've taken on as they fight to keep caring for their loved ones.
Okay, are you ready to go see Emily? Okay, so
these are the days Laura Meffin says keep her going. The days she can see her daughter.
I'm so excited to see her.
Every visit starts off with so much happiness, but the end of it always trails behind like a shadow.
I think of the joy, the laughter, the fun we have. I always make the visits fun for her, and we just try not to think of the end. Mommy, hi. Oh, I love you, bunny. I love you so much. Oh, you're in the nice snuggly jacket, aren't you?
22-year-old Emily has limited verbal skills.
Are you excited?
But there's no mistaking how excited she is to see her family.
What game do you want to play?
Emily lives in a group home, and the pandemic has created a heartbreaking distance.
We went through a lot with COVID. It was traumatic, it really was. So I understand not being able to go in, but I need to be with my daughter. I need to make sure she's okay. I need to have her know that I'm there, that I haven't abandoned her. Yay, Bobby!
Emily has a neurodegenerative disease and has lived at Participation House in Markham for the last 2 years. When COVID hit, Emily got infected. So did Laura. Outdoor visits from a distance. It's the closest Laura and her son Tyler have been to Emily in months.
Are you happy Mommy's here?
Yeah.
Oh, I miss you, Bunny.
I miss you, Mommy.
I miss you too, honey. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, of not being there with her and being able to comfort her. Like a mother can just only comfort a daughter. It devastates me.
That desperate need to get closer to the ones they love. Ever since the lockdown, Marla DiGiacomo organized one protest after the other in front of her mother's long-term care home in Toronto. She was fighting for the right to see her. 2 months after the lockdown, she finally did.
When we first saw her, she was in such terrible condition. She had lost 30 pounds. She was unresponsive.
It was a window visit, and it reflected someone Marla didn't recognize. Her mom, Helen, had withered away, and she got COVID. Marla started lobbying the home to be allowed inside.
I approached them and said, look, my mother is lacking human contact. She needs affection, attention, touch. That's what she needed as much as food. She needed love and attention.
Marla finally got access in August, and since then, the Ontario government has issued a directive clarifying essential visitors include caregivers. But directives can change, and Marla's afraid of being shut out again.
What kind of toll do you think it's taken on your mental health?
It's taken a large toll. I've aged, you know? And I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared that she'll get it again. I'm scared of what will happen in there, you know?
That agonizing fear. With COVID cases climbing, there's no end to it in sight.
Over my 10 years of studying caregiving, I've never seen anything like this kind of burden or trauma placed on caregivers. It's tantamount to a form of post-traumatic stress caused from forced helplessness.
Vivian Stamatopoulos is an associate teaching professor at Ontario Tech University. She specializes in family caregiving and is an outspoken critic of the gaps in long-term care, especially chronic staff shortages.
What is so essential about being a caregiver?
Feeding. We had deaths because of dehydration and improper nutrition that could have been entirely avoided if family were in there, which they usually come at meal times. That's one of the biggest things family do in these facilities. They come around meal times and they help to make sure their loved ones are being fed properly. That kind of trauma of knowing that you can help and you're available to help and you want to help, it's a very serious level of trauma.
The trauma is personal for Vivian too. Her grandmother died in a home just before COVID hit. She can't imagine not being able to help her. She's turned her grief into action, pressuring the Ontario government to pass legislation that would allow caregivers access at all times.
I imagine every resident as my grandmother and what I would do to help. Because a lot of these people don't think they have power to do anything, don't know that they can use their voice and that they can affect change.
That call for change has spread across the country, from British Columbia to Nova Scotia. People like Holly Crooks say the fight now is about not repeating the past.
I'm a reluctant activist. I am speaking up because I cannot tolerate the injustice I see of a government ignoring the basic human rights of people like my mom.
Holly's mother, Yvonne Schwartz, is a resident at Northwood. The Halifax home was in lockdown until June. Then weekly outdoor visits were finally allowed. Holly's mom, once active and mobile, had to be wheeled out.
When we finally got to see her for the first time, June the 20th, her 90th birthday, she had to be brought to us in a wheelchair because she can no longer walk any distance. And that acquired frailty is a direct result of enforced inactivity for months on end. And at age 90, that acquired frailty is not something that she's likely to recover from.
Does it make you feel lonely or sad? Yeah, it's really hard to be separated from you this amount.
It's taken all summer and hundreds of emails to government officials to finally get what she was fighting for, essential caregiver status. That means she can now visit her mother in her room every day, at least for now.
This is the last period of her life. We want to be there for her as a family and make that as enriched as she deserves. I am angry I had to fight this hard, but I would do it again, considering what was at stake.
Is that a bit better? Is that warmer?
Time is slipping away. There's a chill in the air. Winter is around the corner. Laura doesn't know what will happen when it's too cold to visit outside.
Your hand is so cold.
Emily's home hasn't guaranteed indoor visits. Without a law in place, there's just more uncertainty.
Let's pack up. She kind of knows when the visit is nearing the end, and she starts getting quiet, and she won't talk to me.
It's okay. Mommy will be there, okay? I'll come back, okay? You know Mommy loves you.
And the hardest part is when she wants to know when, and I can't tell her. I don't know when I will be able to see her again. I don't know when I'm going to be able to give her a hug again and be in the same room with her and be able to take her home. It could be over a year that I won't be able to be with my daughter. And that is heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. Okay.
I miss you.
Oh, I miss you too, Emily. Aww. Soon, one day soon, okay?
For now, Laura's left looking in, and that makes the end of every visit that much harder.
Yep. It's okay, Bunny.
Joanna Brumiliotis, CBC News, Markham, Ontario.
Well, time for a break now. We'll be right back with the moment. Tonight, it is a pandemic performance well outside the concert hall. Concerts are hard to come by these days, but some music fans in Prince Edward Island were lucky enough to catch this performance today. Tuning into nature is what the PEI Symphony Orchestra is calling it. Together with local musicians, their organic blend of music and the environment is our moment.
It's essentially a musical trail walk. We've been asking our musicians today to prepare music and other forms of musical art that respond to, reflect upon, or interact with the natural world in some way or another. We have a whole bunch of different stylistic genres being played throughout the trail. Essentially, people are going through, they're enjoying the weather, they're enjoying the nature, they're enjoying all of the sounds that they hear. That we're going through difficult times right now, and we're so lucky here in PEI that we're able to be able to hold something like this in a safe way. Even before COVID times, this is something that they may not have had a chance to do, having some sort of outdoor kind of event like this. Seeing it all come together on this beautiful sunny day is everything that I could have ever asked for.
So a couple of things come to mind. First of all, fantastic day on the island today. It looked like a gorgeous autumn afternoon. Secondly, I'm not sure exactly how that felt to walk through there and hear all those different kinds of music, but I know one of the organizers said that they hope it helps people connect with the land, the salt marshes around there, and in doing so with the history, because the Mi'kmaq and the Acadian farmers, the salt marsh area was really important to them. That is the National for October the 18th. Good night.